It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Oh, wow! An unprovoked war in Europe is now underway.
I don't know what you need 1,000. One bottle of baby oil goes a long way.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to episode 4 of Let's Be Rational. I hate how they put the mute button right there. So if I move it, it's like, it's not even a button. It's like haptic or whatever they call it. So when you touch it, you don't even have to press it. Just touching it changes everything. Okay. Anyways, enough banter because we got a lot to talk about this week, and I made a lot. So we're going to jump right into it. As always, we typically start with the markets because we all want to know how to make some money. And as I have been telling you guys, your opportunity was coming in August, and here we are. Let's start off with SPY. Guys, come on. I said, just wait till August. We always have something that happens historically. And here's what we're looking at here. This is where we were. If you listened, you got to get back in around here. I'm looking to get back in some positions. Most of my positions are up because I'm heavily leveraged on tech right now since it is driving the market. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, it's a great time to buy an index. We have jumped back down into this range. I mean, yeah, this is awesome. So, how big is this pullback? Let's actually find out. No, it's under here. I always forget. Price range. Okay, not a lot. 2.5, 2.8. If we're lucky, maybe come the opening tomorrow, we'll get something all the way down to like 5%. I would like to see it come back here to 600. Will we get it? Not unless something happens. Something crazy happens. Earnings were great. We had a couple things that drove this right here, which we'll talk about. But that might be it. That might be our pullback, which is great. If you were following us for a while, you didn't get in here. You'll be able to enter at the bottom of this range, which will probably be a range between 620 to 630 until it breaks through again. And then we'll have 630 to 640. But the long range is from 620 to 630. This area hasn't been tested. From 600 to 610 really hasn't been tested, so I believe at some point it'll come back down here unless it passes 650. Then we may not get something to come back into this 600 to 610 range. So we'll see. Time will tell. But if you haven't built a portfolio or you've been looking to buy some stocks, now might be the right time depending on the stock. So we'll go through a couple things there, but that's looking very good. Same thing with Bitcoin. We had ourselves our pullback. Look at this. I said, hey, ideally, it's probably going to come back to 115, 116. But if it goes all the way back, I expect it to come back to this 111. And sure enough, we came close. We didn't touch it. We got to 112. But if you were paying attention, this is your area. And we might still see this. We got a couple days as the first of the month was Friday. So we got a couple days. It might dip back down there. It might not, with it being so low and kind of finding support here. But it's only been 2 days worth of data, so anything's liable to happen. My honest opinion, if you've been waiting, because I've said, you know, if we'll have a pullback in August, wait to buy. If you've been waiting, buy a little bit, wait a couple days, see what happens. If it looks like it's going to start to go up, then you might want to consider allocating a majority of your capital. Myself, what I've been doing is, I'm buying on open tomorrow. A couple things I've been looking at. And then I've just been DCA, but it's really not DCA. It's like MCA. Monthly averaging. That's not the right acronym. Anyways, I've been buying into Bitcoin on the monthly, so this monthly entry is going to be nice. Yeah, that's the markets. We'll talk a little bit about it a little bit later, but now's a good time to look into getting some assets between Monday and Sunday of next week. I imagine this will be a great period, and we'll revisit next Sunday, as I like to do at the end of every Sunday. But as for this week, I think this week will be a good week to look into buying a couple assets. Now, if you're buying anything in tech, we'll get into that a little bit later. You might be buying at the highs, so beware. Okay. Whew, we have a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. Trump was busy, and his administration were very busy this week. Something's good, something's bad. Well, I wouldn't say bad or good, just changes. So let's start with what we've been dealing with since Liberation Day. Tariffs. Okay, so this was their official release, but in summary, this is pretty much stating that, hey, tariffs are going into effect for across the board, like 10%. The deadline is the 6th, and then everything kicks in on the 7th, unless you have a trade deal with us. And on top of that, some of them don't have 10% across the board that we saw on Liberation Day. Some of them have those higher numbers. So let's see. Yeah, the suspension period ends August 26th. And I don't even remember where I found that in here. I had to make notes on the side. All this proper stuff. Okay, perfect. Here it is. So look, here's the tariffs. As you can see, mostly above 10%. In fact, they said it was a baseline of 10%, but it really looks like a baseline of 15% across the board. I mean, look at this. 10% supposed trade deal. Well, yeah, we did have a supposed trade deal with them in May. Let's see, who else? Like I said, European Union, that was announced. Actually, I think they revisited that last week. There's so much to keep track of. But essentially, this caused part of the market dip. It's, hey, not suspending these this time. Taco trade, which is Trump always chickens out, is not going into effect. Still got 6 days to see if that's true. So be wary. Be wary. Okay, what else happened? Let's see. Yep. Okay. Trump fired somebody, unsurprisingly. This was due to what you're looking at here is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, also known as BLS. And essentially, they report on labor statistics. Shocker, right? So the biggest thing to note here, and we'll summarize, is if you don't know what they do, like I said, they report on statistics, but they kind of give you a estimate in the beginning, right? They say, hey, it's the last month. Last month it was July. Hey, for July, this is what we're looking at based on the data. Data's still coming in. People take a little while to respond. We got to confirm, make sure this is accurate. But based on our projections, this is what we're looking at. And then they go back within typically 2 to 3 months, and they go, okay, now we're closing that period. Everything here is considered final. We'll give you an actual, revised, accurate data. So it's not uncommon to see revisions. Matter of fact, it happens pretty frequently. What is uncommon were how large these revisions are, and they paint a different story. We've been told this job market is good, this job market is great, but if you're an average civilian with average friends, not on the crazy rich side or just rich in general, depending on where you consider the threshold for rich to be, then you probably know the market has been terrible. The job market, the strain on people, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. People are getting by, and some people are barely getting by. So, long story short, what had happened here was, I believe the months, let me pull this up on screen. I believe the months of, yes, May and June were larger than normal. Matter of fact, they were revised down by 125,000 for May. That's a lot. Okay. Normally you'll see like a 10,000, maybe 30,000 revision. 125,000 is historic. I'm speculating here because I don't have the actual number in front of me, but I believe something like this hasn't happened in the last 10 years where the metric has just been so big on the revised data. So essentially they said, ooh, actually instead of 144,000, it was actually 19,000. As you can see, that's a big change. That ain't small. And the same thing happened for June. Hey, actually we have to drop it down by 133,000. Instead of 147,000, it's actually 14,000. As you can see, these go from a 6-digit number to a 5-digit number. This is a dramatic revision, and part of the reason why we saw the tank in the markets and Trump lash out. As you can see, anything that doesn't fit his narrative is subjected to essentially be removed. And so he fires the statistician. I assume she's a statistician. She works for the BSL. She fires her. This is her right here. We'll get into her in a little bit. But she fires Erica. He fires Erica, saying, this is outrageous. This is such a crazy revision. Clearly, you're not doing your job, and you're not doing it well. And, you know, at first glance, I would agree. That is truly unacceptable. Like I said, at first glance, I'll get into that in a little bit. That is a crazy revision. Why did you miss this? How did you miss this? But it's our job to be critical thinkers, especially during Let's Be Rational. So, let's be rational, shall we? Erica was faced with a very interesting task, May and June. Why is that? Well, because in April, Trump decided to do something historic. Let's put tariffs on everybody via executive order. Liberation Day. So 30 days later, she would get her first set of reports for April. Then she would get it for May, another 30 days later. Then so on and so on. AKA those big months, May and June, are in pretty much that direct window post tariffs. So I don't have a lot of data on this. All I see is job revisions. Here's what it is. Actually, let's see. Let's do this in real time. Did they say why? Recalculations from seasonal factors. Quarterly. No. So they... It doesn't look like... And for anybody that doesn't know, when they say non-farm farm. Okay, but that's non, because these are non-farm payroll. So when they say non-farm, and if you're wondering like what the hell is a non-farm, it literally means not an agriculture or not a farming job. It literally means what it says. So don't get confused by it. It's actually in the name for once. So yeah, let's see. I don't think they specifically said. No, they don't disclose any crazy reason. Yeah. See, and this is what they're saying. This is what I was talking about. It takes some time, right? Immediately 2 months, yada, yada, yada. You can read into this. It's posted online. Long story short here was that there was a huge revision made. Trump wasn't happy about it. As you know, he's a headlines guy. He wants to be seen in the public in a positive light. And this goes absolutely against that. So, Miss Erica was just the unfortunate scapegoat, so to speak. I am curious to see if more comes up because to me, if I'm running a business, that's a fireable offense. How do you make that much of a mistake and not really provide a reason? But I could see the opposite side of it too. Hey, you put these new tariffs on, and it took some time for that data to show. And we were taking previous projections that we couldn't really calculate your tariffs for. And so that was our number. And then, of course, we were able to close all that data and give you a real number. So I could see both sides of this argument. Between May and June, 258,000 and employment raised 0.1%. Yeah, it's a big change. Anyways, what you need to know about it, pretty much what I said. And what you're probably already feeling is that the job market isn't great. If you're looking for a new job right now, I'm sorry. It's probably very hard. From the people I know and the people that I've talked to, it is not the easiest thing to do. And right now, who you know matters a hell of a lot. But we've kind of touched on what this means in general. Of course, it means that prices are going to go up. We're talking about the tariffs here. It's going to go up across the board. The U.S. local businesses that are onshore will probably do decently well. Unless, of course, any of their supply chain is getting imported, which I'd probably take a stab at 90% of their supply chain, or 90% of businesses in the U.S. have some kind of import. I mean, we went global. It's just how things are now. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Like I said, he's been a busy guy. This one I like a little bit more. It makes a little bit more sense to me. Okay, so the presidential fitness test is coming back. Essentially, the pacer test. That 1 mile you had to run. The sit-ups and push-ups requirements that you had to do. If anybody was in school, and I mean state school, not college level, from prior to 2013, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, when this ended, I didn't even know it had ended because by then I was in high school doing high school sports. And so I just thought they took those metrics automatically since we were already working out. I didn't know it actually had ended. This was something that Obama, oh, you can't even see him. This is something that Obama had ended in his administration. And it had never brought back since it had ended. I think this is a great thing. I think a bare minimum fitness test for the youth is phenomenal. It did wonders for me. It did wonders for me. I think it is phenomenal. This I applaud them on. And of course, I think they have Triple H. Yeah, is going to be. He's got some kind of creative role in it and how to do it. But RFK Jr. was a big advocate for this. And I mean, you guys probably know this. This is the pacer test. Right? This is the sit-ups you had to do, the stretching test. This was all those things I did growing up, and I think it's great to bring. Because here's the thing. When it comes to fitness, everybody knows motivation plays a key role, and not everybody is motivated, which is understandable. Humans are wired to get the most they can with the least amount of effort. That's just how we operate as a species. But having this at least delays the effects of poor health decisions. So at least you give the youth a starting platform before they make their own choices. And if those choices tend to be choices of comfort, and they don't have to look like rock stars, but we all know that obesity leads to more health problems. It's just how it is, right? So at least you're giving these kids a better start. Now, what I can already imagine the pushback on this is going to be bullying and the celebration of the top 15%, which I believe gets some kind of accommodation. Personally, I'm of the mindset that competition is the only reason we have most of the luxuries here in the United States, is because we have a market where people go, I think I can do that better, and I want to get paid for it. So, personally, I think this is great. I think a bare minimum 1 mile test, sit-ups, push-ups is the basics, especially when you have a world today where a lot of parents just can't be as involved purely because of the fact that the economy is so bad that both parents have to work 2 jobs in order to support these kids. And so at least having somebody, make them do some push-ups, the pacer test, some sit-ups once a year, or I think it's 6 months, once a semester. It just sets them up for a better foundation. And it's nothing that's going to kill them or break them, right? You'll be all right. I know people that walked that mile. Even walking a mile is great, man. So, I'm a big advocate of this. I think it's great. Let's see what else we got here. So that's my one prop to what the administration did this week. The rest was kind of up in the air. All right, we're gonna have to take a swift turn here and get into something a little bit less cheerful. As you know, there was a shooting in New York, specifically at a corporate building, 345 Park Avenue in Manhattan. Now, this building houses Blackstone, the NFL, and a couple other corporate entities. On initial review of this, I actually thought this was a targeted attack on... Oh, let me find her. Oh, bear with me. I thought I had it pulled up. Looks like I didn't. Okay. So like I said, Blackstone is also in that building. And I was about to get into the conspiracy zone with this because I had thought the Blackstone CEO, excuse me, I think she's a CEO of a real estate fund, right? And it's one of these real estate funds that is buying up single family homes, cash, just outbidding people purely to buy them, just to rent them. That is what this fund does. Uh, and it's not unusual. It's been a very common thing since, I want to say 2018, it really picked up. Might have been even 2020. Actually, I really think it was 2020 after COVID. But that was her job. And she was the first very public person that was all over the news when this happened, I believe Monday night. And I was like, oh, is he upset about the housing market? Is this what's going on here? And I have no reason to suspect that from the news that I've been getting and the news that I've seen. What I've seen instead is that this shooter, we're not going to give him credit or speak to his name, because I think when you do horrendous acts like this, you don't deserve to have your name in the spotlight. This gunman, who shot 4 people before killing himself, wanted to bring awareness to CTE. Essentially, that is brain trauma caused by collisions, specifically football. And so this guy had a little bit of a history with, playing football. He never did anything professional, but this gunman was looking for the NFL offices. And what it looks like is he took the wrong elevator. And I had to take him at their word for this. Apparently there's a note. I saw it, and it might have it in here as well, but it's very, I'll have to wait, honestly, to see what the investigation concludes. But I believe this is the most likely scenario based on the stuff that I've read. And it unfortunately just looks like that woman at Blackstone happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And normally I don't believe in coincidences until proven otherwise, but her offices happened to be there. So you are subjected to coincidences at that point in my book. It's a terrible thing to say, but the truth. Now, this horrendous man there are better ways to bring awareness to issues. He wanted to bring awareness to an issue, to CTE. And so he thought, you know what? Let me shoot up a bunch of people and then shoot myself and let them study my brain. That's essentially how he wanted to raise awareness for it. A messed up way to do it. As you can see here, this is his rifle. Definitely looks like an SBR based on the barrel length, and he's got a pistol brace on here, so the ATF qualifies this as a pistol. This is an AR pistol by regulation standpoints. But to the untrained eye, this is a rifle, and it's exactly what it is, honestly. Just context changes things. So yeah, this is a weapon right here. I mean, just like cars, man, they can be really useful or they can hurt people really badly. Same thing with this, man. And this one wasn't used to protect, it was used to harm. So as it stands, this guy wanted to raise awareness to CTE, and he wanted to do it by mass shooting it and shooting himself in the abdomen, preserving his brain so that his brain could be studied. Messed up. Messed up. I mean, majority of the people that he shot weren't even his intended targets, apparently. So, I mean, he shot an officer, rest in peace. He shot the exec, and he shot an unarmed security guard. He shot people. Rest in peace to the victims. I'm sorry. No, I'm not even gonna get into that argument. We're gonna end on that. So, rest in peace to those people. Let's jump into another topic here. Our last one on kind of this section here. Mr. Gavin Newsom. You know, the amount of conspiracies that become fact are really starting to become alarming. The conspiracy behind these fires that took place like 6 months ago in Los Angeles. Remember, these were some pretty bad ones. Let me see if I can actually find the fires. Started with a P, if I remember. Oh. Okay. I can't find them right now. So, anyways, with these fires, they had wiped out a bunch of homes, as wildfires typically do. And the people that got affected weren't able to go to these sites, weren't able to start rebuilding. And we're now like 6 months into this. And these LA fires are starting to be resolved in a different manner. And the conspiracy, okay. Hold on, before we even do all this. Read the disclaimer, and we're gonna, it's not really the conspiracy zone anymore, but we're gonna enter it just in case. So the conspiracy was that these fires were intentionally started in that area because they needed new housing, and that's the area they chose to use. And so, you'll often see the government use crisis as a way to get what they wanted in the first place. We saw that the best depiction of this is 9/11 and the Patriot Act and some of the things that happened there. Right now, when crisis happens, people do look to their government. That's kind of what you're there for, to protect us as a whole. Unfortunately, the government is made up of people, and people take advantage of other people. So, this is getting not enough attention, in my opinion, but the governor of California, Mr. Newsom, has committed $101 million to help rebuilding the area of LA fires. And at first glance, that sounds incredible. Props to you. And I was really looking for something to praise him on, because I feel like he gets a lot of heat, and most of it comes from a valid argument, and I couldn't find one here to give him props, because this is for multi-family rental housing. Multi-family rental housing. That means this whole bill is essentially saying your house got burned down. We're sorry. We're going to give you some money to rebuild it. Oh, actually, we're going to rebuild that area, and we're going to put a lot of multi-family units in there. Oh, what's a multi-family? We're going to put apartments there. We're going to put apartments there, and we're going to give more affordable housing to people. We're going to help clean up our homeless. We're going to help people who just need a cheaper place to live. But unfortunately, that means you're not going to have the ability to rebuild your single family home. We got to make room for these people. So that's the other side to this coin. It's great to see them finally tackling this problem. The problem is how they're tackling this problem is they are using this catastrophe, this crisis, in this flattened area, so to speak, to go ahead and put up new structures. And to me, that's messed up. If I have a house, I paid property taxes on it, I've lived there for, shit, it doesn't even matter if I lived there for a year, but let's say I've lived there for 3, not something crazy long like 10, 20 years. I'm still paying my mortgage on it, right? But I've lived there for 3 years. I pay property taxes for 3 years. Unfortunately, my house gets burned down into a fire, and I get no transparency for 6 months. I get harassed going back to my own lot. Like, I can't start building on it because all these legal loopholes. And then I find out my governor pledged $100 million to rebuild the area. Hell yeah. Wait, you putting a part? No, what about my house? What about the land I bought? The area that I paid for, the property taxes I paid for. My house, where's my family supposed to go? We supposed to go into an apartment? What about my mortgage? I'm sure they're still having to pay that. Whew, that's another story. Yeah. So this is just unfortunate. And the conspiracy was that a laser started this fire. And that, like the blue roof theory, if you've ever heard of that. If not, go look it up. Essentially, these lasers do not affect the blue roof, similar to what happened in Hawaii, where the blue cars, the blue roofs, they don't get affected. Certain areas are burned. That's what's spinning here, conspiracy theory wise. And maybe they weren't 100% correct, but it looks like the end result is still the same. What used to be regular single family houses for people that worked for that house, bought that house, probably struggled to keep that house, just get that taken away from them at their most vulnerable moment. And tough luck. Bet you half of them are going to move to Texas. I don't blame you, but it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate, man. We'll see how this plays out. Things change, so we'll see. Let's get into a lighter topic, shall we? Let's talk about some money. We talked about how the market was going up. Let's talk about, or going down, actually. Let's talk about why. Let's talk about these earnings. Let's talk about these earnings. So, like I said, this is probably going to be a good time to buy stocks. But if you own tech stocks or we're looking to buy tech stocks, it might not be a good time. Why is that? Well, tech stocks this week's, for the majority, killed it. We're talking Microsoft, Amazon, Meta. They did incredible. And their stocks went up. Google. Yeah. Netflix. I mean, was this Wingstop went up too? When was this? 25th? Yeah, it looks like this was weak. Wingstop went up. Meta had an incredible quarter, so they've really taken the spotlight since. Let's see. That'd be easy to search. Sticky keys. All right. Meta. Look at this. This was their jump. Wednesday. They had their earnings after they jumped up. This is their close. Look at that. Huh. This is their open. Jumped up 11.5%. Closed the day at, just over 11. Let's call it 11 and a quarter. That's a jump. And if you bought them back on Liberation Day or just weeks after Liberation Day here, if you bought them during this period right here, I don't know why I closed my position. I really should have held on to them. I think I closed my position around here because I rotated into some other positions, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. But yeah, like I said, some of these tech stocks are not looking like a good time to buy because what is Microsoft? What was Microsoft? Yeah, that's tech earnings. We already know about that. Microsoft MST. Oh, F. Yeah, look, they had a big. Okay, Microsoft's not looking bad. I would wait to see what the open is. Pre-market isn't even starting. I think pre-market starts at 6 p.m. Central Time. But yeah, as you can see, earnings, boom, big pop. But of course, a correction. And they'll probably come back and test this level here. 515, I can see that happening. They'll probably come back and test that level if they had that big of a pullback. Let's see. What else? Google. Google's not a bad buy right now, price-wise. It's looking very fair for everything going on. Exit's looking pretty good because Google's been smashing things. I don't know why they're so undervalued. Maybe it's because did they ever resolve that, is that their all-time high? It's 200? Something to consider right here for sure. Something to consider. Netflix is high. They are high. Should have bought back there. Look at that. That was for back here. Anyways, Netflix is probably at a good spot. Obviously, they can run it back up. And I think they got some big shows coming out. So, not too bad. Is a hefty price tag right now. They'll probably look into a split next year. But, I mean, they've just done incredible. They got an incredible team. Let's see, who else had earnings? Apple. I'll tell you what, Apple. I'm not liking you, man. Looks like the market isn't a fan of you either. You want to know why, Apple? Here's why. We need something new. You were known for innovating and making new things. Now your innovation has been taking away things, which became a trend over the last, 5-7 years. And some of it worked out, some of it didn't. But the public is sick and tired of getting an Apple phone, and will probably always still get one. But as you probably have noticed, and the average American has probably noticed, that you don't need to upgrade every year. Like, back in the day, you had to upgrade. Had to. Too many new changes. Hardware changes, software changes, you name it. Mainly hardware changes. You had to upgrade. Had to upgrade. Now, man, my phone doesn't look too much different from a phone 3 years ago, from a phone 4. Matter of fact, this one looks like the X, but with a bigger camera and a side button. Like, nothing changed. The X, what was that, like years ago? if Apple, and then let's talk about their Apple Intelligence that isn't a thing. Half the reason I got this phone, one, because I think I had the X and it was time to upgrade. It had been like 3-4 years, but I was like, you know what? Let me do the Apple Intelligence. Let me get some AI into my phone. Garbage. If anybody else would have released this, they would have called it a scam. This intelligence doesn't do anything at all. And y'all had Siri. Come on, man. Y'all had this before everybody else, and you've done nothing with it. You're sitting on capital. Please deploy it. I would love some great new Apple stuff. Really only phones that I care about, to be honest. Don't really care about the AirPods or the watch. We like other watches. Anyways, that's tech. They're doing pretty good. If you're looking to get into tech, the name of the game is don't buy at the highs. Buy at a pullback. As for the market, we're at a bit of a pullback. This might be the biggest pullback that we see because with that data that we saw that got revised, if Powell would have had that data, he might have made a rate cut. He didn't make a rate cut this week, which was expected if you listen to the podcast, or excuse me, the live stream. If he cuts rates in September, things are going to go crazy. So this might be a good time to get in. Of course, assess your own personal needs and situations, but we're seeing a correction. And sometimes all you get is a little pullback before it runs up again. And this is your next big pullback. I mean, look at that, from 48 to, that's a $20 range. Like, does it again. Sometimes you get a little bit deeper. Look at that. You would have gotten close if you could have actually hit this. Monstrous. Maybe you come back, but you still would have never gotten this range. So if you don't have anything, consider buying something for sure. I like Earn Your Leisure and the Master Investor. Great show they have, Market Mondays. His saying is 2 tech, 2 index. I always recommend that to people, and I give him credit for it because it's phenomenal, right? 2 tech, 2 index. Get yourself 2 indexes, 2 ETFs. Do that. Get yourself 2 quality ETFs. And then pick 2 tech stocks. Why? Because tech has been driving everything. At first, it was the Mag 7 only holding things up. Now it's AI that's only holding up the market. That's just how the market appears to be. Things just hold it up, and the rest of it kind of moves along, or they drop off and fade. So, rant's over. Good time to buy. Let's talk about some world affairs, shall we? Okay. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, let's talk about Mr. Zuck. You know, ever since Meta or Facebook changed its name to Meta and the Metaverse, he was way too early on that. But he learned, and he let somebody else go ahead and start a new venture, aka AI. And he just comes in, starts deploying capital, and starts buying up talent. He has gotten a super team together. And of course, he calls it superintelligence. We're going to talk about the effects of AI on everyday person. And if you haven't been positioning yourself, it is going to slap you in the face hard. Hard. All right. Let's take a look at this list, shall we? Look at this list. This is the list of just the new ones. Dude, he's pulling from Chat GPT. He's pulling from Gemini. Look at this. Chat GPT, Chat GPT, Chat GPT. He is poaching from OpenAI. Look at that. Poaching from Google and Gemini, who weren't doing good, then came back. Anthropic. He's got Scale AI CEO on the team too. Like, he's got a super team. I'm very curious to see what they come out with, because right now His AI is trash, garbage. But with this much talent, he could easily jump to second place, if not first, depending on what they do. So, very excited to see what happens. Very bullish on this. I think he really learned his mistake from the metaverse. It was great in theory, and it really started something, but it didn't pan out into anything, unfortunately. Yeah, it would have been really cool too. I don't think the technology was there personally. I mean, yeah, see what happened with Apple and their VR. Discontinued. All right. One last thing in regards to tech. I want to make you guys aware of an IPO called Figma. If you don't know what Figma is, they had an incredible IPO. I didn't know when their IPO started, so I'm sitting here at 9:30 in the car trying to buy shares at, I think it was like $33. I'm like, oh, why can't I? It wasn't even open yet. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to view it again until 2:30. So if you can't get into the private market section, you have to wait until they go public like this. And I was just trying to get in as early as possible from when they launched. And these boys went to $100 in no time. And why? Is because Figma is a software company that is going to compete with Adobe. Adobe was actually going to buy them. And what had happened is what really the United States should be doing, but has not been doing, is that deal got blocked. They said, you can't buy this company. No way. You cannot buy a competitor and consolidate. We need competition. We need new ideas in this market, and we're not just going to allow you to do what all the other tech stocks like Microsoft, Facebook have just been, where they acquire these companies, but they don't acquire these companies. They invest. We buy up enough that we own, 51% of the company because we invested or we bought, right? Some kind of way, typically through investment, where they get a large majority of the company and they now own the company without owning the company. But the EU did a fantastic job and said, this ain't gonna happen. This ain't gonna fly. They blocked that. And because of that, we had probably one of the best IPOs to date. And it's actually an IPO of quality. Now, I've bought in stocks like CoreWeave. I think it was Circle that came out. But I bought CoreWeave and participated in that run up, cashed out, rotated profits. But Figma, I was okay to get in late at $100, because I believe this AI software company is going to do great over the next 5 years. Matter of fact, there will always be a need for Adobe, but now there will just be somebody else to pick between, and it will be Figma. And if you use Figma or you know anything about it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't even use it, but I understand the people that I talk to, they love Figma. Figma is what they use. So, is Figma worth investing in? My personal opinion? Absolutely. Now, it's only been 2 days. Like I said, here's the opening. Oh, it opened at 83? That can't be correct. Is that what it actually ended up opening at? Wow. So pre-launch, they were at like $33. I got in like 107. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I'm a little bit up, but I believe you'll probably see this. It's going to find its footing. This is not a lot of data to look at. I mean, look at the hour. Right now, it's showing that 110 is a great buy. And I think it'll probably if it's anything like CoreWeave, what was CoreWeave? CNW. Core. Okay. CR. Okay. If it's anything like CoreWeave, yeah, this was such a great buy. I bought. Thought I got to 200. No, I didn't. I sold around here. As soon as it started slowing down, that's when I cashed out. Did I catch the top? Absolutely not. But I didn't catch the bottom. Got it at about, I should have bought some options. I got it at about 60, 70. Great ride. And this is what I imagine it'll do something like. It'll come, test, and then all of a sudden, it'll just start running. And then it'll come back down. I mean, it's going to do that. It's going to find its sea legs. And so I do think right now it is not a bad time to buy. Now, trading has considerable risk. Make sure you do your own research. There was a disclaimer. I hope you paid attention to it. But at the end of the day, hold for a long term and you will be fine. Hold for at least 5 years. You pick a quality stock, you hold for 5 years, can't lose. Can't lose. I mean, you technically can, but you really can't. The market's rigged to go up. All right. Let's jump into war and world affairs. Israel, you're in the spotlight again, as always. If you guys remember what I talked about last week, you'll know my thoughts and opinions, but I'll give you just a brief synopsis. The way Israel and Palestine were divided up by the United Nations, that was just going to breed conflict, especially when you got two opposing views right next to each other. You divided it terribly like that. One side was going to win, and they won't stop until they're eradicated. And it looks like Israel is going to be the victor. And war is brutal and nasty. And it looks like they've stopped with mass killings and decided to blockade, just starve them to death. We already occupy everything around them. Let's just dominate the water, not let anything get through, and they'll all die off because they won't be able to eat. It looks like that's where they're resorting to. And then every now and then they just blow up some people. It's sad. It really is. Because at the end of the day, I never hear anything anymore about soldiers or militias attacking Israel and those people getting killed, those people actively seeking to hurt Israel. I just hear civilians are just getting destroyed. Yeah, and that's where we stand. And unfortunately, like I said, this is the critical thinker. We are going to be rational. And based on how the world is treating this and how Israel is treating this and the situation of Palestine is, I do not believe there will be a Palestine in the next 10 years. I believe it will all be Israel. It's just, if things continue the way that they will, everybody will die. It is the sad truth. And it looks like no government cares enough to stop it. Anyways, if you want to hear my rant on that, go check out Livestream. Every live stream gets recorded and uploaded. Shout out to YouTube for that. Anyways, talk about another one. Kenya. So what's going on in Kenya? Well, Kenya's shooting people. Specifically, this appears to be the straw that has broken the camel's back. What do I mean by that? Well, this current leader from Kenya, President William Ruto, has now ordered the police to shoot rioters, looters, protesters in the leg. Don't shoot to kill, but shoot them in the leg. Anybody that knows any basic human biology is the leg has some major arteries. And where you would shoot would be the thigh. Where those major arteries are, you're going to probably bleed out without any kind of medical training. I mean, yeah. So, to shoot him in the leg is intended to incapacitate them, but not kill them, is a crazy statement. Like, use non-lethals. Anybody that knows guns knows if you pull the trigger on the gun, you are pulling the trigger with the intention to kill. Like, to harm, there's no such thing as a warning shot. If you understand a gun, get something that can fire a warning shot. So this is a crazy statement. But like I said, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Essentially, this guy has been a very corrupt guy, and not a lot of great policies have been used. And this came after, I believe, a reporter's death. Let's see. No, a blogger and a teacher who died in police custody. So this was, like I said, the straw that broke the camel's back, and people around the world are getting fed up with their governments. They're getting sick of this shit. And rightfully so. And if you wonder why America has the right to bear arms, it's for things like this. Now, for the officers, unfortunately, they're just doing their job. And I hope they have enough sense to not shoot people in the legs. I know a lot of officers here in the States would. We have a lot of other non-lethals. But you have guns to overthrow governments, to protect yourself against tyranny. I think almost every government in history has somewhat became tyrannical at some point in its life before it expired. To what extent you want to consider tyrannical, that's subjective. But when a country just imposes new laws and never takes away laws, what do you think you're going to end up with? More freedoms or less? Let's just be honest. Anyways, another straw that broke the camel's back. We'll see what happens with this leader. It's not a good look for him. They killed 31 people on Monday. Like I said, if you're pointing a gun at somebody, you're going to kill them. It's more of lucky if they don't die, because you can get to them, render aid. But if you're just shooting people with excessive force just to slow things down, you're not going to rush over them and help them out. So they probably will bleed out. They probably will die. Apparently they've been using tear gas, water cannons, and now live ammunition. The National Commission on Human Rights reported that about 31 people were killed and over 532 arrests were made during the Sabah Sabah marches on July 7th. So this is old news. They want Ruto to resign and the end of corruption and actions like raise taxes that have lowered living standards. So, yeah, people are getting fed up with the government. They're imposing things that aren't there to help them. All right. Man, it seems like it's always doom and gloom. And here's a warning, right? If you got TikTok, you've seen what's going on here. UPS is offering buyouts to drivers. Now, let me refresh your memory. UPS, they had offered, there was, what do you call it? They gave people raises. Oh, why am I blanking on the word? They gave people raises. It wasn't protest. What do you call them? Oh, why am I drawing a blank on this? Hold up. Hold up. It's gonna eat me alive. But anyways, they gave people raises up to, I believe it was $120,000 just a couple years ago when it was their union. Ah, yes. It was the strikes. Wow. I blanked on the word strikes. They had a bunch of strikes. When was this? 2013? 2013. No, excuse me. 2023. Ah, words. 2023. If you remember, that was a lot of strikes that were going on. And one of them was UPS, and UPS ended up winning their strike. Oh. You got to understand, this is a chessboard. Everything we do is a chessboard when it comes to business. The business said, okay, we hear you. We understand. We're going to go ahead and pay you guys a lot. Managers or high-ranking people were eligible up to $120,000. Immediate wages. It was historic. Let me see if I can find it. The headlines from it. 2023 UPS strike. Leads to better contracts. All right. Let's see what we got here. What is going on? Is that they really put this in the middle? Lame. They gave him a 5-year contract to eliminate the and guess what window we're in? 5 years. Which is why the union might not be able to do anything about this. Will on average earn $170,000. Annual pay, benefits, 5-year agreement. Well, this is a game of business. And business is chess. And they treat bottom lines as bottom lines, whether they're people or not. And so back then, man, they said, you know what? Yeah, no forced overtime. We'll give you all this. No problem. You know what was going on in the backgrounds? They said, how do we get rid of this? How do we stop paying these people? We'll give them 3 years worth of this payment, then we're letting all of them go. Done. So what do? They made strategic investments, and now they're offering buyouts. They said, hey, we'll give you a buyout. We'll give you $1,800 per year served water with a minimum payout of $10,000. Why are they doing that? Because AI is coming for your jobs. We're going to replace you with robots. If you got TikTok, like I said, this has been all over. Why? Let's pay attention here. Let's see what's going on. I'll show you why. So if you can't tell what's going on here, is essentially they're able to cut load time to 6 minutes. 6 minutes. A skilled forklift driver could probably do this in maybe, 30 minutes. So you could probably cut this time in half. This might just be average. Maybe not. Maybe that is the skilled guy. They put the skilled guy against the slip bots to hopefully do good. But these things are on automated pallets, man. They just slide in, slide out. AI is coming for your job. You have, if you're lucky, till 2030, 2035 before you don't have a job. It's coming for blue collar, it's coming for white collar, you name it. This is why you need to build an investment portfolio. You need to have something that's not your retirement portfolio, something that you can capitalize on gains quicker, because you're going to need them fast. You're going to need new skills. Look at the industries. Like for me, if I were to get fired tomorrow, you know what I'm doing? I'm becoming an electrician. Why? Because you know what the number one thing everybody's looking for right now? Electricians. I already work in blue collar. I like using tools. Why not? And electricians are getting paid some good money too. Good ones, whoo, you set, you good. You're good. It's work though. Don't get it confused. But what's the alternative? I mean, your time's done. I look at recent college graduates. They are having a hard time finding jobs because the entry-level jobs are the easiest to replace with AI right now. Doctors and surgeons are getting a little on edge, right? Because AI is able to look at the scans and diagnose what their experience was able to tell them by looking at the scans. And it can do it faster. AI is going to change things. And this change is going to be different, because this change already substitutes the workforce across the board. It doesn't shift it. Hey, machines are going to automate this task and you're going to do. What task are you going to do if they're taking blue collar jobs and they're taking white collar jobs? You better think about it. I mean, it's half the reason I started something like this, because one, I enjoy this. Two, I love to have these kind of conversations and to tell people what I see. Because when I have these conversations in person, we're just clicking. And it makes sense to people. And I would love for more people to have these conversations, because these are the topics that I'm talking about here. There's a site called Warn where they got to post. I don't know if it's just for Texas. Maybe it's just for Texas. But they have to post within 6 months before layoffs. Check it. You should be checking it every month. You really should. Because with the way things are moving, if you work at a major company, Walmart, Target, UPS, FedEx, any major company, they're looking for a way to use AI. They've been investing in AI. This is the investment. There's a reason AI is driving the markets. It's because of this. Same thing. I work in the oil industry. Check this out.
In early 2024, we completed our first driverless delivery in the Permian Basin, a journey that began in 2018 with the vision of revolutionizing ground transportation with autonomous technology.
You see how there's no truck driver? UPS, this isn't just for loading. They're coming for the drivers across the board. Warehouse workers, drivers. Amazon's been doing something like this for a while. There's a reason you can get your packages in 2 days, if not same day. A lot of it's automated. And the ones that are still there, they're looking to automate. And that means if all the entry-level people go, where the managers going to go? Who they managing? Nobody. Nobody. This right here, these are 18-wheelers in the Permian Basin. For those of you guys that have never been there, which is probably a majority of you guys, those roads are not labeled. Once you get off of the freeway and maybe a couple little normal turns, normal roads, it becomes what we call a lease road. And it is just a dirt gravel road. If these trucks can get there without any signs, any stoppage, perfect testing ground. Perfect testing ground. Because the only people out there are oil field workers. Whether you delivering sand for fracking, whether you're like myself, driving just a regular pickup truck, talking to your clients, dealing with tools. Y'all don't understand. I was at Quick Trip the other day. And at Quick Trip, to get a cup of coffee, 3 months ago, they had a janitor. They didn't have a janitor anymore. You know what they had? Little robot, about a foot, maybe a foot and a half tall, cleaning. The janitor might have still been there, but it wasn't going to be there for long. It was cleaning. There was probably about another 10 people in the gas station. It would stop, say, excuse me, I'm trying to get through. If you were like, nah, screw you, robot, didn't do anything, it just stop and wait. There's no battle. There's no conflict. Okay. Or it would go somewhere else if it was already pre-programmed to do that. Essentially, they're coming for everything. Why not? This is why CBDCs that I was talking about a couple of weeks will look so attractive to the everyday person. You're going to go ahead and give me a livable wage when my job's getting taken? Okay, I'll take it. But it's coming through the CBDC, so you're going to control the money. You're going to have complete access to it. Like, at first, it will be presented as a solution, as convenience, even though it is taking advantage of a crisis, like with the fires. Please pay attention, people. Please, please pay attention. This is why we have this. It's going to start off... I can't even say it's going to start off slow. It's going to look like it happened overnight. You're going to hear layoff, job cut, not anymore. AI. There's a reason billions are getting invested. There's a reason that Meta has a super intelligence team. Like, this is the reality. 2030, best case scenario, if you don't have some kind of basic entry-level job, because AI will take that in 2 years. 2027, gone. That'll be gone. You got a little bit more skills, a little bit more accolades on your belt, take AI a little bit more, but AI learns fast, insanely fast. I mean, just think about it. ChatGPT came out, in 2022? It's only been 3 years. Actually, it'll be 3 years in November. From when we were amazed that we could type in a little prompt and it would give us all the information right there. We didn't have to look through Google and look through all the little searches. And now it's driving trucks, loading cargo, cleaning floors, running around. I'm in Austin. Let me show you these little robots. Let me show you these robots. Dude. Hold on, I got an ad going on right now. This was in the domain the other day.
A robot wearing a cowboy hat, walking alone on South Congress. We reached out to APD and the city to see if they knew anything about this, but it's still unclear.
That video doesn't even do it justice because it was playing with kids. It's like the height of a toddler. Okay, let's see if we can see.
To meet you. Yo, G, that sleeveless plaid shirt is straight banging, and you flexing that smokular build like a boss, no cap. And that watch on your wrist? Iced out, nephew. You got that clean drip locked down. You
Please understand it's happening. It's coming. Let's let this finish.
Atlas operates Kodiak driver-equipped robo-trucks, delivering sand daily. Once integrated with the Dune Express, this fleet is designed to create a fully automated supply chain that connects production to delivery with unmatched efficiency. Each robo-truck deployed drives our growth, delivering value for our partners while generating revenue. From vision to reality, the future of transportation is here. Kodiak, delivering today.
Yeah, it's coming for your job. Please have an investment portfolio. Look into some other skills. Don't be naive. Don't fall. Do not fall for whatever simple solution they give you. Please. Please, 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 please. Be resilient. Learn some skills. Be a critical, rational thinker. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you guys. It was a bit of a longer one, but I told you we had a lot to cover. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully this provides something of value. And I will see you next week for another episode of Let's Be Rational. Thank you for watching.